So when I made my last video, which was I think the montage, I fully expected the update to come out soon. I didn't think it would be in that month or maybe the next month, but I was thinking late May, sometime in May to early June. And unfortunately, that is not what happened at all. Quasi confirmed that it was in June. Everyone thought that it was going to release with the Bok Bok plush, and when the Bok Bok plush got an extra couple of days, everyone thought, oh sweet, he probably pushed it back so we could release it with Season 2. But today is the day that the plushie finally expires, and it's very obvious that that is not the case. Quasi did confirm Season 2 for June, but he has set release dates in the past and has very rarely made them. This isn't an SF Drought video. Season 1 content got us like 4 solid months of montages, games, YouTube videos, streams. It sparked the renaissance of shotgun farmers, but it's dried out hard since, with everyone anticipatingly waiting for Season 2. That's not a word. But everyone is waiting for Season 2, and it's just not coming out. I've been playing Cuphead to keep myself occupied before Season 2 drops. I haven't touched Shotgun Farmers in a good week and a half to 2 weeks. I was going to get on for the anniversary update until I realized what Quasi did. I am one achievement away from getting all the achievements in Cuphead. If I can almost 100% complete your game, and it's a game like Cuphead, then I think that something is wrong. With the game being pretty dry this past month and going forward, I was really looking forward to the anniversary event. Maybe I thought it would release with Season 2, but I realized when it wasn't. At least it's some new content, it'll be a new game mode, I can get double XP, it'll be an update to the game without it being another massive season drop, like it used to be. Just before all these cattle passes and season drops, it would just be a couple seasonal updates every single year with new cosmetics. But then I realized there's nothing new in the item shop. There's nothing new to unlock except maybe a new badge, but that was bugged. And double XP wasn't working, which really made me think about what the game has seen in terms of updates in the past full year. So in around September, I want to say, when Quasi was originally working on Foresight Horde mode, which would snowball into Season 1, he didn't put any new cosmetics for the Halloween update in the unlockables, which is understandable because there are already so many, so you can definitely go a year without adding new stuff. And then Christmas came around, and nothing new was added. And then Valentine's came around, and nothing new was added. They added St. Patrick's Day outfits, or hats, to the game in a weekly item shop, which I thought was cool. It was 2. One was a green hat, and the other one was a pot of gold, which should have been a pet, but they made it a hat. It looked really weird. That was fun. It was cool. That was during SF Renaissance. But then spring event came around, nothing new added. And now with this anniversary update having nothing new, I realized something. Quasi is kind of letting his game deteriorate as he works on these massive updates. Shotgun Farmer Season 1 was a massive update. It also came with a heap load of bugs. A lot of stuff with emotes, skins and textures being missing or weird, like on the Fancy Farmer. The tuxedo mesh was, or not the mesh, the texture was on the hands. It looked disgusting. Emote bugs were obviously massive problems. It looked like you were running around while still doing the emote. You couldn't see if someone was holding a gun or not. Super broken. There was a glitch where you could be booted into third person permanently while doing your emote, and you can walk around. I actually have an unlisted video on my YouTube channel. If you scroll up in Shotgun Farmers, the bugs category, or channel in the official Discord, you'll be able to see that unlisted video. You can watch it. You literally can play it in third person. It's crazy. And Quasi took a good 3 to 4 months to release a hotfix which didn't even solve everything. Switch also definitely had these problems. There's this glitch on Switch right now where if you use the Ghost Pepper, you have a chance of getting 2 sets of hands, which is crazy. A lot of the textures on the Switch are messed up, and Quasi definitely hasn't been looking at Switch bugs a whole lot because no hotfixes have been coming out. But if you keep making all these bug fixes and waiting to release them in an update that will come out 5 months later, you're just letting these bugs settle and people's games get ruined. Just for new massive bugs to be introduced with the big update that has to take another 5 to 6 months to get fixed. There hasn't been any new cosmetics in a year when it comes to the seasonal updates, which used to be the only time shotgun farmers would get new things added. Both Quasi working on this massive Season 2 update with a new map, a new gun, and a big battle pass, definitely a more ambitious battle pass than the first one. Quasi is just not watching over his game at all. When he launched Epic Games, it was a massive achievement, but it came really buggy. A lot of the items in game were pink. They had no texture, a lot of the cosmetics. And the volcano on Oceanside was just a massive pink object, which I don't understand how that happens. There has to be a checklist that you go through, and obviously a little tiny cosmetic you wouldn't see, you'd let it pass. That's fine. But a big centerpiece of one of 9 maps, you couldn't playtest through all of it to make sure it was fine? Epic Games has been one of the most glitched versions of the games that the game has ever seen, even more buggy than Switch. There was a time where the game was physically unplayable on Epic Games. You couldn't play the game. You could never win. It was so bugged. It was crazy. And Quasi had to go quickly fix it and make a very quick hotfix. It's just crazy. And I haven't been anxiously waiting for Season 2 because there's been a lot of cool stuff. The Bok Bok plush was awesome. Quasi has been showing off community cosmetics, so I've been tied over. I know that Quasi has been making stuff, but when I see another seasonal update go by with no new cosmetics, the fact that it got cancelled, he put up the anniversary event, realized that the badge was glitched, double XP didn't even work, he took it off and is probably going to release it later this week, next week, which is so disappointing. Season 2 is probably going to release very late June, if not July, because Shotgun Farmers updates always get pushed back. Quasi has been doing very foolish things with the game while he's been making Season 2, and I'm so hyped for Season 2. So much new content, a new map which we haven't gotten in over a year. I'm super excited. A new gun. But he's been making so many mistakes. I'm fine with there not being content in the item shop, that's fine. But when you can't get double XP working the first time, and where you haven't had it in almost a year, and then the second time you try adding it back, it's still glitched, I'm gonna ask, okay, well, couldn't you have tested it? Couldn't you have actually tested it to make sure that it worked? There was a glitch with the item shop where it was unavailable. People thought that meant that the update was coming out the next day, because why have a new item shop rotation for one whole day if it was just going to get cycled out with new content in the next cattle pass the day after? But Quasi quickly confirmed that that was not what it was, and it was just a giant glitch. So Quasi's solution was to put the rock pet in the item shop. The rock pet that was in the cattle pass. I just don't understand how that happens, and it shows that Quasi has been completely engulfed in Season 2, that he is letting his game fall apart a little bit. Quasi had a good thing going on. He would make a ton of cosmetics, put most of them in the cattle pass, and then drip us new items in the farmer's market, in the features item, every couple of weeks. Maybe every other week, a new pet, a new skin, a new shotgun skin would come out, and people would love it, and that was great. Birdy has been making item shop reviews and it kept the community going along, even when people had finished the cattle pass in the first week. And obviously, it's clear that Quasi has run out of items to put in the item shop, which I think is fine. It has been, 5 months since the first update. And when I look at how much Quasi has added, look at all these pets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 pets for a new feature that was added 5 months ago. And some of these pets are pretty lazy, I understand. Like the tractor, or the suitcase, which I think is fun. It does have animations. Even the rock has animations. But you're really just reusing Griswold. You're reusing the Kaka and giving him the Bok Bok animations. Same with Bok Bok, Sasquatch. And there are some really well-made ones, like the Baby Bok, the Boink, Half Pint. But then you also have Heyday, which is a pet that doesn't even roll. It's a little wheel of hay, like the ones you see around the map, and it doesn't even roll when you move. It just stays there, which shows that it's, maybe it was supposed to and it's just bugged, but Quasi is kind of padding out the pets a little bit. But I'm looking, 2-3 years ago, the game had what, 8 outfits, and now it's in the 40s. Like, it is insane how much content he's added to this game. But the problem is that we're not going to get another set of maybe 3 to 4 outfits for another 5 months when it comes to these seasonal updates. The game has come such a far way, but in a sense, it's almost reverting back to more drought. In the latter half of 2022, the game was dying. And I don't mean like the player base was leaving, maybe they were, but the game just was receiving no attention because they were working on Season 1. And I foolishly thought that once Season 1 would come out that the drought would stop. And although it did spark a massive community base for a good 3 to 4 months, after that, what did I think was going to happen? The game is still being neglected while he works on these big updates, and it just leaves bugs to sit there and doesn't really make me want to play the game, especially when the double XP doesn't work twice in a row. So what do I think Quasi should be doing here? Just make sure that your seasonal updates are solid. There's already so much content in all of them, but surely there is some stuff you can add. Like, there is no shotgun skin for the spring event. I think that's super weird. I'm hoping that now Quasi, that he's taken a year off of adding cosmetics to these seasonal updates, that he does start adding them now. I hope that he downsizes on the seasons a little bit. Keep the 50 cosmetics, but maybe don't have to add in a super big thing every single time. The first one was 4-side horde mode, where you had to make bosses and all these unique different variants. This Season 2 is going to be Moonside, which, yes, does mean that I don't think that Eastside will come with Season 3. I would love, personally, I would wait for the end of the year, November and December, in order to get Eastside, because I understand that there's been no development on the actual map, and because Quasi is working on a map and it's taken him 5 to 6 months, obviously, if he works on another map, it's also going to take him 5 to 6 months. And I don't know if it's harder to make a moon map than a city map, but I'm guessing it's probably equal. I would be fine waiting to the end of the year for an Eastside themed cattle pass and update, but I understand that that's not happening. So I'm going to be dragged along by Quasi on the leash into 2024 to see if maybe they'll add it. It's almost been 3 years since I made the concept and posted it in the Discord, and it is driving me crazy. I can understand making Moonside, even though he really wants to make Eastside. He somehow chose Moonside to make first. I understand making Moonside, because it's a community idea that's been asked for since the game came out, but I don't know where the hell Forestside came from. I don't understand that at all. So yeah, realistically, Season 3 is not going to be Eastside. So what I recommend is that they downsize Season 3. Unless it's Eastside, then literally try to make it the best update ever. But downsize on Season 3 and add more stuff for the Halloween and Christmas event. And when I say downsize, I just mean maybe not have that big map or horde mode or whatever. Maybe he can juggle both. Maybe he's putting in Halloween or seasonal cosmetics into the game with Season 2 that he'll release. Maybe he can juggle both somehow, but for right now, that's clearly not happening. The ports that he's made are glitching out severely, game-breaking sometimes. The updates that people have relied on and that he's relied on for years are now bare if you've played the game before, and sometimes in this case even broken. But when Season 2 drops, everyone will come back and will play for 4 to 5 months, and I'm hoping that, you know, the seasonal updates and maybe showing off some more stuff and maybe teasing a lot on TikTok can keep the game going until Season 3. Because that's what I want. I know this was a negative video, but I felt like it had to be made, and I felt like since I was waiting on Season 2 and that just has not come out yet, I really need to make a new video. So yeah, I want what's best for the game. I don't want it to fail. I'm trying to make it the best game possible. I want Eastside to come out, because that will literally be the Oh, I'm gonna rant for a second. I was gonna put this in my Season 2 video, but Quasi confirmed that there's gonna be no horse pet for Season 2. They're putting in alien chicken. I'm gonna save this for the next video. But like, they're literally adding all these wacky alien characters for their pets, but one of your main pets doesn't have a pet. He literally said, I asked in January when he teased on the Twitch stream Season 1, I said, is there a horse pet? He said no, we'll have to add it in Season 2. On a TikTok stream like a month ago, I asked, nah, we'll have to put it in Season 3. Thank you, Quasi. I love your game. I love you. Before we end this video, I want to talk about something that has kind of worried me. Quasi's been posting on TikTok about wanting to make a survival game or a VR game. That's right, Haunted Harvest has not been worked at all, which I knew was happening. When they saw that the community wanted it, Phantom Potato worked on it for maybe 2 weeks, and then they've dropped it. They've said that they've talked about it and discussed it, but I know they haven't. They haven't worked on any of it. And they've been making these prototype games on TikTok that he's shown off, and it's like, this is what you're doing with your time? You're like, he's made Shotgun Farmers an Unreal Engine. He's made this like hypothetical survival game, and I think it's cool to make different games under the Shotgun Farmers universe. I think that's a great idea. A VR game. I want a VR zombie game. I don't want a regular VR port of Shotgun Farmers. It wouldn't work. Okay, I think a VR zombie game would be great. Like a survival game with those growing your gun mechanics would be great. The problem is that you just started the season system. You're really going to delay a big update when it just first was introduced for a thing that doesn't even have like 40% of community approval? He's putting a lot of time into these. I think he should just make a couple more seasons, get out Eastside, and then if you want to branch off, you can. But keep in mind that Shotgun Farmers is his only source of revenue. If he leaves that inactive to go work on a completely new game, it's not even guaranteed to do well. But it is interesting. Maybe in 2025, 2024, we will see it. Which, you know, I'm a little bit excited for. But I'm going to leave it there. I hope Quasi releases Season 2 and it's great, and I hope that he makes Eastside soon. I want it to be at the end of this year. I know it's not going to be. I know it's going to be Season 4 in, I don't know, April. But that does it for me for this video. I know it was a negative video. I haven't made one of those in a while because I've been making too many montages. But I'm really excited for Season 2. Hopefully it comes out in June like it's scheduled to. And I'll see you guys in the next video, which will hopefully be a Season 2 video, unless it gets delayed like it always does. See ya!